Joining me now from Miami is Dr. Eileen Marty. She's a professor of infectious diseases at Florida International University. Dr. Marty, they have found the presence of the Zika virus in urine and in saliva, but the question is, can it be transmitted that way?
We're not 100% sure. Those studies simply have not been done. So from a scientific perspective, we don't know. It's possible, but not known.
And sexual intercourse as a means of transmission, is that something new?
No, it isn't really new. We had evidence that this was going on before. In fact, there was a case in 2008 of a couple of researchers that were doing work in Senegal. One of them, both of them men, one of them came back and had relations with his wife who had not traveled, and she became sick with Zika. So we had seen that even here in the United States before.
So knowing that sexual transmission is possible, then the advice being given is that men obviously should use condoms with respect to women who've traveled in the region where Zika is present?
That is correct. That's what the CDC has advised, and they're absolutely right to advise that. I had hoped that they would have done that sooner because the information really was out there. But they've done it, and that's a very, very good thing.
So what is the significance of a public health emergency being declared in Puerto Rico?
It's a wonderful thing, just as it was wonderful that Governor Scott declared it here in Florida for a number of counties. What that does is it allows the government to release funds to do the kinds of actions that are necessary to reduce the risk for the community. Most importantly, this means that right now, while we're still in our cooler months, that we can go ahead and spray the kind of sprays that we use for larvae of mosquitoes, and that will reduce the number of adult mosquitoes that eventually, come out when the weather warms up.
Well, if it's a good idea for Puerto Rico and a good idea for Florida, what about other states where, mosquitoes are all over the Mid-South and actually all over the entire country?
Right, but primarily it should be done in those places where there's a likelihood that there'll be travelers coming into that state from places where the virus is active, or in the case of Puerto Rico, there's been 21 cases, 20 of which were acquired in Puerto Rico. So it's very, very grave in Puerto Rico. It's important in Florida because we've had 12 imported cases and we have the mosquitoes, and we know that we're going to be probably importing more cases during this outbreak that's going on right now. And once mosquito season starts, it would become a problem if we didn't confront it immediately. And that's going to be true of the various states of the United States where the mosquito exists and where they have this kind of exchange with a large number of people likely to come to their state possibly infected. And
so we now know that there are 14 states where the Zika virus has been found to be present. How contagious is it? How concerned are you about the possibility of rapid spread?
You mean within the contiguous United States, or spread throughout?
Within the contiguous United States, yes.
Okay. So my concern is the fact that the mosquito exists, and that as long as temperatures are warming up as they have been, as they were last year, then you're going to have a very large number of mosquitoes that could potentially bite someone who is has the virus, and then amplified within the mosquito and then transmitted. There's a difference in the fact that we may see an autochthonous case, a case acquired in say Florida, for example, but what Florida is going to do and what other states should do is immediately when they see a case acquired is put all the manpower and resources into the area exactly where it was acquired to reduce the mosquito population and prevent an epidemic. And that's exactly what Florida has already done when there have been an occasional onesies and twosies of dengue or of chikungunya acquired in Florida. We attack the problem very aggressively so we don't get an epidemic, so we don't get a major outbreak.
Dr. Eileen Marty, infectious diseases expert at Florida International University, thank you for joining us on Al Jazeera America.
My pleasure.